I didn't notice.
What's that?
Just moved out the look at stuff.
No, the screen.
Oh,
Yeah, mine says review also.
I just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to be in the
Mom.
wrong spot. Moving something. No, touching something.
Mine have to be reprogrammed so the library.
It's cold in here because it's raining.
It feels good.
And then we're pulling. Oh, she was still looking. Miss Rose.
Oh, 7?
So,
He is 7.
I can't hear.
He's number 7.
Yes. I can't. You know I can't hear.
We're going to pull these two about the capital project. Next month when we input the numbers and go from there.
Anybody else want to sign up? Anybody else want to sign up? Anybody else?
Whoever is signing up for 18, 19, it has been pulled. It's going to be pulled from the agenda. So you don't need to speak. We'll discuss it next month.
18 and 19. Restroom. And ordinance for the restroom, and 19 is for the change in the salary of the houses. No, I'm sorry, that's 25, I'm sorry.
No, 18 and 19.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. Same topic, same topic. Right. The 7 is still the other.
person must decide before entering the chambers which item they wish to comment on. If they are not seated in the chamber when the agenda item is heard, they will be notified by an officer to enter the council chambers to address that agenda item. Agenda, please silence all electronic devices. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph?
Present.
Mrs. Gordon? Here. Mr. Hubble? Here. Ms. King?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Here.
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of January 8th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, it was moved by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Payne. Roll call.
Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, we have an amendment.
Yes, Mayor, Council, we have a request to amend the agenda to add an agenda item to hear from the library board about some upcoming, items that would be put before the city and parish. We would need a motion to amend the agenda if the council, so pleases to hear that agenda item. And like any other motion to amend, that motion would need unanimous consent in order to be passed.
I'll second. That motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Roll call.
Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passed.
So we'll make that as item 6A.
6A. A5, public comments from the public are allowed in accordance with LARS 42-11, section 2 through 34, and specifically limited to an agenda item to be considered during the meeting, 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic. Okay, number 6. Presentation by the Port Allen Police Department, Flock Safety, Chief Mitchell.
This ain't gonna be long. However, I'm finna get ready to tell you the story, on why I leave. Okay? So, an incident had occurred sometime last year, towards the beginning of the year. We had a awkward shots fired call. And as y'all are already aware, we extremely short. Right? So with that being said, we got multiple calls, shots fired. We had multiple shots fired in various locations. One was in Tracy Porter, another one was in North 14th and Court. Another one was on South 12th and Court. Another one was on Avenue A. And once again, we short-handed, so we didn't have a accurate location on where to go, so we went and we started searching those surrounding areas. Upon searching, we end up eventually getting a phone call from an anonymous caller, which we get a lot of those. People who don't want to be involved, but will tell you what's going on. Libya. Well, we got an anonymous call from this particular person who said, "Hey, look, the shots fired. The shots was over here on Court Street, right by South 12." At that point, I end up getting on scene. I start knocking at all doors until I end up coming up to this resident who still wanted to remain anonymous, but provided me with this video footage of what happened. Okay. Yeah, you can play it right there. Yeah, you can play it. Back it up a little bit. Y'all can see. second time. Hold on, stop it again, Rick. Now stop it. Can y'all make out that vehicle? Everybody can make out that vehicle? Play a little bit more, Rick. Stop it now. Even with that car going at that speed, nobody can make out that vehicle, right? I can't. I'm a cop. I've been a cop over 10 years. I still can't make out that vehicle. Okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to y'all too. So with that being said, we end up seeing the direction of travel that it was going, which is west on Court Street. If we had a gunshot detector, cameras, LPR, we'll be able to get a pinpoint accurate of that vehicle. With, depending on the community, and y'all been extremely helpful, but what they can provide, we limited. Once that car had left out of frame, we had nothing else. So that kind of deterred us further on getting to the root cause right there, which was that vehicle. So I'm coming to you guys with y'all support moving forward to try to get fly safety, because with the tools that they can help us help provide to us, we'll be able to do our job more efficient, and it's not only help us out, it help the community out, it help the city, the whole city hall out. So at this point, as y'all can tell, I'm extremely hoarse. I'm just not getting a little bit of my voice back. I'd like to let Rebe finish this part, okay?
Thank you, Chief.
Y'all got on y'all screen?
Yeah, we have those. Well,
No, not everyone.
but it's okay.
Can I move this to the middle?
I'm good.
All right, guys. First, I just want to have Mr. Ford on the screen. I just want to briefly introduce him. This is Seamus Ford. I've been working with myself and Chief. Been working relentlessly for the last couple of weeks. I'm just diving into the DNA of this system that we come to know. But before I get started, I kind of want to do something. I'm a very interactive person. I like being engaged. So I need just a little bit of participation from my constituents. If you don't mind, can you please pull out your cell phone? You don't do anything to it, just pull it out for me so I can hold it up. Coach, y'all can join too if you want to. And I'll give you a couple seconds. So, and I appreciate you joining me. So, with that being said, you guys can put it down. I won't make it go too long. So with that being said, the reason why I instituted it, because on the back of our cell phones, we have a camera. It's at the disposal of us very quickly. It's readily disposable. It's in our back pocket, purses, briefcases, anything you want to name. You have the ability to access it and use it at the moment's notice. All right? So if you had to take a guess on how many cameras cover the city, just take a wild guess. And I hope anybody want to give me a suggestion. None? All right, so we got one person that's correct. We have none. None. We have zero. All right. And from a law enforcement standpoint, I find it to be it's very hard to work with. All right. We're in 2025. We moved to the 21st century police. We got a lot of data, a lot of evidence that will be presented to the DA's office. All we do is for further investigations, not just further investigations, but we work with other jurisdictions to try to solve cases. And when you don't have those tools, especially a tool that's, again, readily available, it sort of put the concrete on your back, and it makes your job just that much harder. As you saw in the video that Chief Mitchell showed, that crime could have easily been solved. All right? So we have a statute being violated. We don't have a suspect. We don't have a call. We don't have anything to go off of. Thankfully, this citizen had a residential camera. And again, residential cameras are great, but usually our residents on budgets, so you have to buy a budget camera. The placement of it is going that's not their duty to do. It's our job as a city to provide it. But being helpful, they still provide those videos for us to help us in our investigation, but sometimes it's just not enough. You can cut off you, et cetera, et cetera. The next step, before I sort of turn it over to Mr. Ford, is you take a look around. Now, I did the interaction with you guys with the cell phones and the cameras, but if you look around and here, we have a small camera on the screen here. This column is blocking. We have one here by Councilman Glory. There's one on the wall in the back, and there's one at the top. Last time I checked, not much crime goes on in here. But this room is more equipped than the city of Port Allen as far as video and audio. And quite frankly, I think that's a problem that we have to attack. And it's for the benefit of all of us. My role before, kind of dual role now, is I was a detective. Now, countless cases, shootings, aggravated assaults, where the investigation that I did, I felt I did a great job. We had local residents to help, video provided, but it was just that little bit more of information that I could have used to identify a vehicle, a person walking, a license plate, matching a car model. That would have really, really, really helped. Not just really, really, really helped, we could have held somebody accountable, which is the person that did. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Ford, and he'll be able to explain a little bit more to you about flock safety.
Thanks, Assistant Chief Smith. Can everybody hear me okay? Chief?
Yeah.
Assistant Chief, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So yeah, as Assistant Chief Smith said, I'm Seamus Ford. I'm the flock safety rep that's been helping out Chief and Assistant Chief Smith. You know, at the end of the day, flock safety's mission is to eliminate crime, right, across the United States. And we do that through our technology, whether it's hardware and software. For the purpose of this city council meeting, I will be passing over to Jonathan, who will introduce himself, and then we can kind of get into the contents of this. Thanks.
Good evening, can folks hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, thank you so much. So, my name is Jonathan Bass, I'm part of the local government affairs team here at Flock. So we were founded back in 2017, when our CEO was the victim of property crime in his neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. And at the time, he thought having a doorbell camera would be enough. So he went to his local PD and said, here's some evidence. And it turns out it wasn't. They told him, you need a license plate. So he did a little bit of research and found out that license plate reading technology has been around for over 30 years. It's just typically very expensive for neighbors to acquire that technology. So he developed what is now the best-in-class technology that doesn't break the bank. And we are now in over 5,000 communities, helping solve over 10% of crime. And really what we're helping do is answer the paradox where police are expected to do more with less. And what we find to be a solution to staffing shortages in law enforcement is having a collaborative policing technology platform, making officers more effective, having more objective data, but also working with the community. That's one of our founding principles. We have a whole suite of solutions. What we're going to talk about for this part is the license plate reader, and this is how it works. So if you drive by one of these cameras, they're in a fixed location, they're not moving around, and they take a snapshot of the back of your car. And really, it takes stock of two things. Number one, the license plate, right? Number two, the vehicular fingerprint. So it makes notice of the color, the make of the car, if it has a bike rack. That's data that's included as part of that snapshot. And it really is helpful as an investigative tool, right? Because if something happens, something terrible happens, some people don't memorize a license plate. They remember what the car looked like. So that description alone helps law enforcement be able to have a real objective lead, breadcrumbs, if you will, leading to a suspect. So we provide 24/7 coverage, but on top of that, there's a proactive element to it where this data is integrated with the National Crime Information Center. So that means that if someone's coming into your neighborhood, coming into your jurisdiction, that if a stolen vehicle is coming in, if a missing person, a missing child, someone with a felony warrant is coming into your jurisdiction, you will be notified in real time. Typically in under 30 seconds, you'll get that notification. So there's that proactive component, that investigative component, and you emphasize, we built this technology with privacy in mind. If the data is not being used, right, like if your car drives by one of these cameras and you're not going to be investigated for anything, that data will be deleted in 30 days, and that's a hard delete. The only data that's kept beyond that is data that would be part of an investigation. So I also just want to emphasize, we don't own the data. You guys are the masters of your own data. We help store it in a government cloud, but we can't sell this information. We don't really collect personal data. There's no personal data associated. This is literally data about vehicles when it comes to license plate readers. And we believe in security, so all the data is encrypted end to end. And there, you can't go into the system like we built it with accountability in mind and transparency. So you can't just go into the system and wonder what your neighbor's doing. You need a search reason, and any search in the Flock system is part of an indefinitely available audit trail. So these things, this system is audited. And yeah, we want to make sure that there's transparency in the process. So we also provide free of charge a transparency portal. This will, showcase to the public. You can include it in your city website. This is a tool in the toolbox. It explains, what it's being used for, what it's not being used for. You can even publicize your license plate reading policy and even show the return on investment. Some agencies show like, hey, here's how many stolen vehicles we've recovered. Here's how much stolen property we've recovered. They can put a dollar amount. So that's a real benefit in terms of this, transparently and ethically using this technology. I wanted to quickly share about our gunshot detection system. Imagine if you're responding to a terrible situation, you get a 911 call, and there's been reports about gunshots. This will allow you to have a virtual crime scene. You are getting notified of where shots have been fired in under 60 seconds. So even before someone calls 911 and a dispatch is sent out, you will already be aware of where that may have happened. So you can not only preserve evidence, you can protect victims better, and you can apprehend suspects, because this will be paired to the license plate reading cameras in your neighborhood. So if there is a vehicle, there are witnesses, there's a car getting away, the license plate reading cameras are helping you inform about what is the situational awareness where maybe someone's fleeing a scene. So again, just to recap, you're protecting evidence, you're protecting victims, and you have way better situational awareness now that you have gunshot paired with license plate reading technology. And I just wanted to reemphasize again, this is within these devices operate within a 90-foot radius, and yeah, there's more gunshots reported than 911 calls made. So I really think this is a powerful tool, and this is just to visualize it. Before someone is even dispatched, you already have eyes on the scene, understanding where shots were fired. And I did want to again just reemphasize, we train these devices so they're not really listening to conversations. They've been trained to listen to explosions that are comparable to gunshots. So these look like 5-second audio clips that are recorded and saved when a gunshot is fired or firework or sideshow is detected. Our technology is evolving, so that's what those specific cases are being used for. But again, you're triangulating within 90-foot, which enhances evidence collection. And I did just want to again emphasize, all data is automatically deleted on a 30-day basis. So again, if it's something benign, no one got hurt, that will be deleted unless it's part of an ongoing criminal investigation. So again, you guys own all the data, and the real power behind having a license plate reader, having gunshot detection, and then having live video is that you're actually able to have eyes in a situation. This is what our live video camera looks like when you're operating it. You are able to, where some of these cameras are placed, let's say it's a high traffic area, there's like some kind of game happening, you really develop situational awareness where you can proactively monitor these cameras or reactively. If there's reports and there's an incident, you're able to better understand the situation and really pair these different devices to gather good information, good evidence, and save lives. So here's a few amazing features. I'm not going to run through all of them, but these cameras, you are able to pan, tilt, and zoom. And you have a 25 times optical zoom feature, which from what I've been told is really impressive. But just give you the technology and walk away. We actually help you maintain it, we help update it, and again, as I mentioned, we help in the installation process, permitting, and the data storage. So we are already routinely helping prevent and solve crime in Louisiana. We're in already 45 law enforcement agencies. Here are some of them. I did want to just share a couple quick stories where they had a hit and run situation at a central officers responding to reports of two-vehicle crash. The victim was reported that he was rear-ended by a Chevy Impala that fled the scene. So they quickly queried their LPR and they found a matching vehicle description and quickly identified a suspect. So the suspect was issued a summons for the crash and turned himself in only 3 days following the incident. There was multiple burglaries that were successfully solved thanks to our license plate reading technology in Kenner. One on April 18th, where officers responded to reports of 2 suspects attempting to break into vehicles. They received reports of at least 12 vehicle burglaries in the neighborhood. Again, these are people just reporting with very limited information, like it was a blue car running away, but they were able to successfully query the system and identify the suspects before anything else or worse happened. A similar situation on April 24th, the officers received an alert that a vehicle had been detected nearby. They initiated a traffic stop and arrested 2 suspects who were charged with illegal possession of firearms, simple burglary, and a possession with intent to distribute among others. I don't want to take up too much time, but I did want to just quickly share, this story here, where officers responded to reports of a drive-by shooting in Kenner, and they found a deceased victim on the scene. So again, responding to a real-life and death scenario, they queried their flock safety cameras, and within 3 hours of the shooting, they identified the vehicle, its owner, using the camera. So 10 a.m., the first suspect, the 23-year-old Kenner local, was arrested for first-degree murder, and at 1 p.m., the second suspect, the 25-year-old, was arrested on the same charges. So just to give you an idea, this is all happening in real time. People are operating with limited information, but within the next day, both suspects were apprehended. And just to kind of quote the Kenner police chief, let this serve as a message to anyone who considers terrorizing the city or its people that Kenner PD will be relentless until we bring a criminal to justice. So this means a lot to the families of the victim, being able to know that there isn't someone running around the city. And I just wanted to really close out with our first Amber Alert solved. I apologize if I'm going for too long. Back in Georgia, where we were founded in 2020, a mom was walking down the street with her baby when 2 strangers literally pulled up to her and at gunpoint stole her baby. She fought as best as she could, but she remembered it was a red Honda with a damaged back wheel. That information alone was enough to successfully locate the suspects. We have a very strong network in Georgia, where we were founded. So by 12 o'clock, an Amber Alert is issued, a baby is stolen. By 2 o'clock, they were able to locate the vehicle, and they knew that the suspects were fleeing the state, so they were able to map out a safe stop to make an arrest. And by 6 o'clock, the baby is reunited with their mom. Stranger-on-stranger abductions are very rare to solve, and here in this scenario, we were able to solve it within the same day. I share this story not only to talk about how great our technology is, but this baby is a toddler, and this family lives to tell the story. It again shows the power of our network, but also, we've been able to help recover over 400 people nationwide, and that's probably an underestimate. So this is the real value we're able to bring to your community, not only knowing that you'll be better protected, but you'll be protected efficiently. So happy to answer any questions. I do apologize if I went for too long.
So, while I'm kind of closing out, I did really want to add one story, one investigation, and I'm sure won't be long, but Jonathan gave a good example of how within 3 hours that suspect was identified, arrested, and charged with first-degree murder in Kent. Well, myself and Detective Celestine are dealing with a very, very similar case. Now, luckily, the victim did not die.
Oh, we have, we gonna end up placing, we're gonna end up placing them in all the entering into, points, well, the FDRs and all the entry points. And then, as y'all heard him, explain to y'all, BTC, that's the counties, that's prime county, we're gonna place them in our hotspots, meaning all of the high techs, intersections and stuff like that. This is a hotspot for me, LA1 and Avenue G. People come off that bridge, they got a lot of traffic coming over there, they got a lot of people do a lot of U-turns over there.
First, so the major part of, and I hope this is either the more inside, the major part is can be initial cities, either the entire city though, alright? Just like a residential house. You wanna make sure.
Hold on.
I'll get to it.
Hmm?
So it's just like a residential house. You wanna cover the
Oh, no.
major
Breathe,
parts of
breathe.
the house first.
Y'all have any other questions?
Know the cost of it.
Okay. You had just got the updated one.
I'm sorry, I unplugged it.
So, another thing to add to that, one of the things that they had also had blessed us with the gunshot detector, they gave us a 60-day trial. So with that being said, they said they'll come and place it in our city free of charge, and if we don't need it, we can go ahead and remove it. They'll come remove it at no charge.
So how much is the whole package?
So, I'm sorry guys, the battery did die, but if I remember correctly, it was a quote of 23,000, a yearly subscription. Comes in like a 2-year contract, then close to the end of the 2 year, you have a chance to review and renew. Also, the Raven Technology, which is the name of the gunshot detection, they're doing Project Safe, Project Operate Safe, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if I can't remember correctly. But they're gonna do a 60-day trial, they're gonna do a 60-day trial run. If we like it, we can keep it, and if we don't, they'll come and pull up all the equipment. And,
Let me stop you. So I think we didn't have the presentation ready for committee meeting.
I know.
So it's just the presentation tonight.
Yeah.
I think we can get more information next month for a committee meeting and then put it on the agenda to vote,
Yeah.
next month if we wanna.
Proceed forward.
Cause I think you're asking for it for the new fiscal year, to put it in your budget for a new year, or you wanna start before that?
If we could start now, I'd like to start now. You
So
know,
we'll, kinda talk about it, for a committee meeting, so whatever other information you need to bring, I guess, to them, like the price, charge your computer.
Yeah,
So,
that's on me.
So, so we can
plugged.
bring it to committee meeting and then they can vote for the next meeting. So it kinda was a, just an informative,
Yeah,
video
That's
to
what it
show.
was. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
thank you.
Okay, 6A, library, I'm not sure who's the.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Martin. I'm the director of West Baton Rouge Library, which means that I oversee both branches of the library. We have staff at each one, but I'm sort of the boss of all of them. So, Elliot is setting up our presentation. Libraries have evolved a lot. People tend to think of us as a storehouse of books, and that's not what we are anymore. Read that. We got plug-ins on the laptop bar at the library. Rebate comes and works in detail for us, and so we're friends. We're friendly. All right, so we're ready to go. So tonight I want to talk to you about all the resources at the library that are above and beyond books. We do have lots of books, but much more than that. So some of our resources are books, magazines, and DVDs. We have over 70,000 titles of books. So that's not copies. That's 70,000 titles. So if we have 2 copies of Jane Eyre, it only counts once. So we have 70,000 titles. We collect, I can't see it, 112 magazines. If you have a magazine subscription, you're wasting your money. You can come to the library and check it out for free. We get Newsweek, People, gardening magazines, keto magazines, whatever you need. Even a homeschooling magazine. And then DVDs, not everyone has access to streaming capabilities. Not everyone has internet access. A lot of people still come in and check out DVDs. We have classic movies, TV series, lots of children's DVDs. We got the entire Disney collection. And they're really great for road trips. If you put a DVD player on the back of your car, you can drive all the way to Disney and they'll be quiet. Additional resources, we have all the local newspapers. We have the Advocate, Point P. We did have the West Side Journal until they stopped publication, but we'll have that again as soon as they're back in business. But we also get USA Today and the New York Times. You can access the New York Times through our databases without paying for it. So you can read the New York Times online for free, or you can come in and get the paper. It has to come through the mail, so it's not that day's edition. But, and then public computers. We have 20 public computers. They're equipped with Microsoft Office. They're connected to the internet. They have print capabilities. We have one particular employee named Luis who can help you with any computer problem you have. And then we have these databases. So databases tend to fall towards the academic. They have information for research papers and things like that, but then there's also medical databases. We have a car repair database. If you're old school, you remember the Chilton manuals, but that's all online now. So you can come to the library or access it from home and print out those directions of how to change your starter and not get them greasy, not get the book greasy when you're working on it. Go ahead. All right, so this is our digital collection. In addition to physical books, DVDs, magazines, newspapers, we have access to online books, audio books for your commute. So the first one is called Cloud Library. That is a consortium and agreement between most of the public libraries in the state of Louisiana. We have all gone in together, and there are over 300,000 titles in that collection. That is just books and audiobooks. Tri-Parish eLibrary and Libby are kind of the same thing. On Tri-Parish eLibrary is on your computer, but Libby is an app that you can download to your phone. Libby is a really smart app. If you have more than one library card, for example, I have one here, I have one in EBR, I have one in St. Tammany. You can put all your library card numbers into it, and it connects to all of them at the same time. So when you're looking for an available copy of Huck Finn, it tells you which library has it, and you can click on it and check it out right then. Those collections, however, only have what we purchased to put in them. The one that's called Hoopla, it's sort of set up pay as you go. So it doesn't cost us anything to offer you Hoopla, but when you click on something and check it out, we pay for that checkout and only that checkout. But the other thing about Hoopla is you don't have to worry about whether something is available because everything is always available. We can all check out the same thing and all watch it together or read it together. It's really great for required reading for school, required reading when nobody can get their hands on that book that the English teacher said you got to have by Monday. We can all check it out on Hoopla. Hoopla also contains more than just ebooks and e-audiobooks. It has access to music. The Taylor Swift album is on there if that's your thing, not my thing, but they have comic books. It has TV shows, old TV shows especially. I Love Lucy, the Andy Griffith Show, and it rotates because we don't buy things and put them in that collection, kind of like Netflix does. Every month they take some things out, put some new things in. So so it's constantly rotating. Teen Cloud Library, that is for middle school, high school students, and it has a lot of that required reading in it, but it also has some study guides, especially like the Beowulf, Shakespeare, things like that, that helps explain them. That is really essential if you have a middle school, high school student that has those required reading assignments. And then Tumble Books is maybe my favorite. It is for the little kids. It has all the picture books and nursery rhymes and all that, and it's interactive. They turn the page on the book. There are little dots that go along with the text and read it out loud to them if that's what they prefer. There are games that are associated with it. It's a really good way to integrate some literacy into what your child is already doing on the tablet. Okay. And then our services. So many people don't realize that you don't need to go across the river for so many of the things that we offer. We serve as a document center. You can come in, you can scan, you can print, you can copy, you can fax. There are minimal charges for copies and faxes, but compared to going across the river, it's really convenient. My staff does an amazing job of outreach. We go out to the schools. We go out to Council on Aging. We have the bookmobile that has regular stops, but when COVID started, we kind of backed off on the bookmobile a little bit and started doing some more personal service. We still have those neighborhood stops for the bookmobile, but we serve our shut-ins and elderly on a personal level. Miss Sherry takes them their books directly to their house, can leave it on their doorstep or see them. And some of them, that's the only interaction they're going to get this week. She takes them crafts. She does an amazing job. She's really dedicated and one of the best assets West Baton Rouge has. We have a meeting room, bigger than this one. Ours at the South Branch seats 150 people. The one here in Port Allen, if you haven't been to it lately, has been remodeled. Has all new paint, all new flooring. We've got the projector and the screens, and it's completely free to use. There is no charge. And reference. All right, that one employee, his name is Luis. And if you don't know Luis, you need to know Luis. Luis is your man. He was named Louisiana Library Association's Public Librarian of the Year for 2024. He can help you with your phone, with all those apps that I just talked about. He can help you set up a resume, apply for a job, find the research book that you're looking for your homework, whatever it is. This afternoon, Casa is doing some training in our meeting room, and Louise is in there setting up her PowerPoint when I left this afternoon. So our statistics, this is just for 2024. It includes Port Allen for the whole year, and the South Branch opened on May the 16th, so half the year. We checked out over 65,000 items. We had 8,272 computer sessions, which tells me not everyone has a computer at home. Not everyone has the internet at home. We provide that vital connection. Luis, all by himself, answered 15,000 reference questions last year. That doesn't include where's the bathroom or what time do you close. Those are real reference questions that people needed help with and couldn't find the answer on their own. Everybody says just Google it. That's not always the answer. You really need some direction sometimes. And in 365 days, we had 572 programs. That's amazing. We're not even open on Sundays. We had over 30,000 people attend those programs, and there are only 28,000 people in West Baton Rouge Parish. So does that mean every one of y'all came to a program last year? I hope you did. I hope you did. Okay. All right. We, in 2023, joined forces with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Really no restrictions other than be under the age of 5 and live in West Baton Rouge. No restrictions at all. If you haven't signed your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews up, I brought applications. All you gotta do is fill it out, drop it up, drop it in the mail. You don't even have to drop it off to me. Or you can go online and fill out the application and we'll get your kids started. We right now have 353 active. That is about 20% of the eligible people, the eligible children in West Baton Rouge. So I'm really doing a push to get more kids signed up. There is no cost. We've had 90 graduate already. That's really good. Okay. So on March 29th, the library is asking for a millage renewal. It will be effective for 10 years. It is for 4.1 mils. It is not a new tax. It is simply a continuation of what we have collected for the last 10 years. However, this year we are not collecting 4.1 mils. We've rolled back to 3.9 mils. We're tightening our belt. We finished building the South Branch, so we don't need to add funds to that. We are fully staffed. We don't need, so we're tightening our belt. Reassessment hit everyone hard this year. I'm a taxpayer. My reassessment's made me eyes pop out of my head. So we're trying to be kind to the taxpayers. We're trying to only collect what we need. And the parish council asks every taxing body that's under their purview to do that, and we agree, because it's important to us that we not overtax people and that we spend your money responsibly. And if we don't need it, we don't need it. So that there's a really good example on the assessor's website of how to figure out what your tax bill will be, and I wish I had done that before I opened up my bill. But if your house is assessed at $150,000 and you have homestead exemption, you pay towards the library $30.75 a year. So think about that for just a minute. All those services that I've told you about tonight, how much does Netflix cost you? A year. Just a month. How much does Netflix cost you a month? How much does your Amazon Prime cost you a month? Because you can drop those things. You need a book, you don't have to get online. Well, you can get online and reserve it, but you can also pick up the phone and say, Kim, pull this book to the side for me. I'm coming by to get it. Or tell Miss Sherry to bring it to my house. That's what we do for West Baton Rouge every day. Every day. Drop some of those subscriptions, people. Okay, next. All right, these are just beautiful pictures of all of our wonderful West Baton Rouge people enjoying our library, our programs. Sweet little boy, I got a sweet spot for redheads, did his water painting. We had a princess tea party. It was a story time. The princesses came and read stories and had a tea party with all the little girls in their precious little costumes. We have after-school board games, chess, checkers, Connect Four, all sorts of things. You can just come sit at one of our tables, soak up the air conditioning in the summer. We have teen game nights on Friday night. They really love that. For some reason, the teenagers love to be in the library after it's closed. I don't understand the attraction. We don't check out books on those nights, but they love it. We have Family Color Run featuring Mr. Donovan Mitchell before he was famous. And then those are just some sweet little children that we caught enjoying the library in Port Allen branch. So I brought handouts for everybody. There are some handouts on the table that review some of those statistics that I just went over and include some more pictures of our beautiful West Baton Rouge people, the application for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and some pins if you want to get them. I brought 6 of the We Love Our Library signs. They are hotcakes, y'all. If you want one, grab one on your way out. But we got them at the library at the front door. We bought 500, and they are going fast. What questions do y'all have for me? Anything? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
29th. Your ballot will include a constitutional amendment, the library's tax renewal, and the drainage tax renewal for the entire parish.
I'm here, I think y'all all know me. If you don't, I'm Kerry Dunstall. I'm on the parish council. I'm the chairperson for the parish council. I'm here in support for the library tax. I serve on Ms. Tammy's board, and they do a phenomenal job, y'all. They really, really, really do. So we really do, or would appreciate your support on this March 29th. While I'm up here, on the same March 29th, the parish has two renewal taxes. The library and also our drainage tax. And the thing I can say about the drainage tax is all you have to do is go back to 2016. We all know the devastation that happened in this state. Charlene at that time was on the parish council, so I know she knows this. There was a map that came out that showed all the parishes in the central part of Louisiana, and they were all showing the flooded parishes, and they were all in red. And there was this one little bitty one in the middle, right, Miss Charlene? One little bitty one that didn't get any flooding. So we appreciate that you all would approve that renewal on that millage for us. And just remember, all the municipalities, your water goes into our ditches and we get it discharged to the intercoastal canal. So thank you all for your time and I appreciate it. I think we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And number 7, consider the introduction of an ordinance to re-subdivide the municipal property located at 605 North 15th Street, also known as 9.108 AC in section 67T75 or 12E, designated a lots C and D, PA 2 through 85. This item was not approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Before Mr. Joseph begins council, just want to say a few things on this agenda item. One, because this item was not approved by planning and zoning, any vote to move forward on this agenda item, in other words, to overturn planning and zoning's denial of this would take a 2/3 vote of the council tonight. So if again, if the intent of the council is to override planning and zoning and actually proceed with the subdivision, you would need 4 votes tonight in order to do so. Should the council elect to do that on this particular agenda item, we would ask that the agenda be amended to add 2 additional items that would follow up this particular agenda item. Those agenda items weren't placed on the agenda because in the event the council does not proceed with the re-subdivision request, those agenda items would be unnecessary and moot anyway.
So as you may recall, well first, good evening. As you may recall, last month you introduced an ordinance to sell municipal property located on North 15th Street. This item is the re-subdivision to create the lot that you plan to sell. It's 9.1 acres. The city uses it as a disposal lot. The lot to be created is going to be a little under 8 acres, like 7.92, leaving 1 acre for the city to maintain ownership of. This is for the proposed residential development that Mr. Strange is organizing for Roanoke Development. I believe he's been in contact with many of you. So this is just an item to create that lot. It doesn't sell the lot. The next item would, but of course that is pending the appraisal coming back, which we do not have yet. But the price is fixed to be no lower than $700,000 for 7.92 acres. So, but you have to create the lot before you can sell the lot. So the matter did not pass the Planning and Zoning Commission. However, you have the authority to supersede that. this is the item to do so.
What was the reason planning and zoning denied?
I can't answer that. There was no extended discussion about the reason. I believe, based on what I observed, that it had a lot to do with concerns about the market price of the proposed homes to be built as rental properties. And then one member didn't like the idea that they were going to be rentals at all. So, there was no extended discussion to try to, I guess, address those concerns. But ultimately, I think it just came down to some folks who just don't want any additional development, and some folks who just didn't. I'm sorry. Oh wait, I paused. So, you asked me my opinion. Is I believe it came down to some people who don't want any development, some people who didn't want it to be rental, and then some people who had issues relative to the market value that was expressed by the developer. But that was just based on an observation of what I heard at the time.
So Lance, I have a question for Mr. Strange. Will these houses be government subdivided?
I apologize, I'm one short. David Strange, Roanoke Development. The houses themselves, the construction of them is financed with community development block grant funds. Those funds are given to the federal government, by the federal government to the state to allocate. So yes, the federal government is ultimately paying for the construction of these homes. The units themselves are not subsidized. It's not a Section 8 development or anything like that. So we've talked a couple times, everybody can hear me, about the development and pictures and stuff, but this time I just wanted to go over just a little bit of the math with you real quickly. And because we've talked about some of the things, and so I just brought some pages from the market study that was done, which was about $8,000 for this market study. And it shows a couple of what the proposed rents were at the time when this was going to be apartments back almost a year ago, and now we've switched it to single-family homes, and the state has approved that. The third page has those rents on it, and I have Ms. LaChastity here from the management company to explain real quickly how those rents get calculated and how people qualify and why they tend to vary. And then there's just some very interesting statistics that this market study pointed out, and that is that there's a declining population base here, that the population base is older here than in any surrounding community, that the renter percentage, the people of rent in this versus own their homes, is almost 50%, that the median income of this market, that 50% of the residents make less than $50,000. 50%. That's a staggering number in comparison to the national averages. And so the capture rate of this that we talked about earlier is that if we build this, only 1% of the demand of this community would be satisfied in building this huge need for these houses. On that page also is what the market rents are. And we talked about that the market rent in the greater Baton Rouge metro area for a one-bedroom apartment is $1,100. That's what the market study says. For a two-bedroom, it's $1,370, and a three-bedroom, it's $1,713. On that page 3, you will see that our rents are nowhere near those numbers, and they're calculated based upon an individual's income. We talked about how it can't be more than a third of your disposable income. So therefore, if you made $30,000, your rent can't be more than $10,000. If you make $100,000, your rent can't be more than $30,000.
That's how these rents get calculated. So, for instance, Ms. King, if you walked in and wanted to rent one of these houses, you'd have to produce your verified tax returns and income, and then it would calculate what your rent is. So your rent will be different than your neighbor's because you make different amount of money than your neighbor. You go just a little bit further in these documents, it's going to show the application log. I mean, there were 100 applications for this grant statewide. 19 got approved. After that is the calculus of how did the state make this determination. And it's a very complicated formula that appears here. It's under what was called the Louisiana Housing Corporation funding for multifamily CDBG from Prime 3. We talked about the 3 hurricanes. It was $230 million that were awarded for these 19 housing developments statewide. And again, back to the calculus, that the state made this determination based upon what communities within the hurricane-affected portion of the state, which was the majority of the state, which communities needed housing the most, and those 19 were the ones that were chosen, and they were chosen based upon the fact that you have 50% of the population here that's making less than $50,000, and because of the grant funds from the federal government, we're able to take what are essentially $300,000 hurricane-proof houses and rent those for the rental rates that LaChastity will tell you about in just a second. So real quickly, just a couple more things is, I mentioned this earlier to you too, the security system that we have and all the cameras that police the inside of our development and the outside, they link to that system that was presented to y'all earlier. We do that in other cities. They can instantly have access to our so if you have a car going down the road, shots fired, and our camera's catching it, they have instant access to that. So it's highly technical. There's development Wi-Fi for the whole neighborhood. The price that we would pay for this parcel of land is $700,000. The total development cost is $16 million. So you're talking about millions of dollars in revenue to the city in the form of sales tax, property sale, ad valorem tax going forward. And it's, again, a community that if we build these houses, only 1% of the need within this community gets satisfied when we build that. I'll answer any questions you have, but I'd also like LaChastity to go over real quickly after you finish with me how the rent actually gets calculated. She's done this for us statewide for a number of years and is our state manager that manages all of these developments for us.
So you're saying that housing development be done by the rent by the income?
Yes, ma'am.
Not just basic, the $1,100 that you told us before?
Ma'am?
Not the $1,100 that you told us for one bedroom?
The $1,100 is the market rents. That's what the average market rent in with the Baton Rouge MSA.
But their rent would be based on the income?
It is based on their income. But the market rent are those numbers in this market study. But the individual's rent is based on their personal income.
Okay, real quick, because we have some people that signed up for
Okay.
this agenda item.
Let me ask you something before you.
Yes, sir. Respect. I'm here to talk about this housing development, but I do know, having been in this for a number of years, in particular, one development in Alexandria, Louisiana, where the exact same issue came about, and they simply didn't have enough rooftops with disposable income to support a grocery store. After we did our development, and one or two other developments were done in that neighborhood, they were able to open a grocery store.
We got enough houses, right? We need more.
Well, you have to have the houses to generate the income at the grocery store, but I'm not here to open a grocery store.
You trying to sell a house?
I'm trying to build a house. Yes, sir. We'd love to have you. Anything else for me?
So my name is LaChastity Sword. I work for NDC Asset Management as the Director of Operations for Louisiana and Mississippi. As the Director of Operations for Louisiana and Mississippi. My job is to ensure that all properties developed by Roanoke and other owners are in compliance with any guidelines laid out before you all. Specifically talking about ensuring that if this property is a income averaging property, that we make sure all residents qualify based on their income and are giving the proposed rents based on their income. I've currently worked 3 deals with income averaging, with one actually in progress currently. So I can attest to the rent amounts truly being based on income. As David mentioned, we verify income and assets to ensure that these households meet these requirements, so that they are truly qualifying for affordable rents. You guys, any questions that you'd like for me to elaborate on? As David mentioned, providing this housing would only cater to 1% of your population. I know that it's been mentioned possibly that we're looking to rent these units. And I do want to say also that although the objective is to rent, we do offer programs within the community that aids our residents in being able to be homeowners also. So it's not just the focus centered around just renting. We want to, yes, we want good residents, but we also want to promote them to be able to own homes in the future. With that being said, we bring in bankers, real estate agents, things like that to help gear them up for that also. So the focus is not just centered around, yes, we want to provide a community and sustain it, but we also want to help educate and provide opportunities so that they can reach different levels in their lifestyle.
Okay, but they won't be able to ever own any of those.
Not this current development, but they will have rents that are affordable to them. And that's the purpose of course, bringing in low-income housing.
To the mayor, the council, and to the citizens, thank you all for your time. It's just a lot going on. My thing is, what you do for one development, you have to do for another development. You all have a fiduciary responsibility to govern, to advise, to recommend, and to counsel on behalf of what the citizens want. And my first question was, if this development was declined or denied just last year based on infrastructure, traffic, and not in my backyard, why are we approving this development to go literally 2 minutes down the road to do a development that was denied again by a government body for checks and balance, which is the planning and zoning, denied this development for different variables. May have been because of traffic, may have been because of infrastructure, may have been because of not in my backyard. Whatever the reason was, it was denied again. And now we're so anxious again to put this as an agenda item on the ballot to push this forward. I understand that he has a deadline of July to get everything moved forward and the engineering and all this stuff that he has to get forward. Understand that if this project does not go forward and it does not meet that July deadline, you can't say, hey, you didn't meet the deadline, give us the land back. Who's to say that they're not going to take that land and just let it sit there and not do anything? Because if they pay $700,000 for it, they pay $500,000 for it, and this development does not proceed and does not move forward and does not meet that July deadline that's proposed by LAC, then what? He has to have site control of the property. Site control does not mean that you have to sell the property to him. He has to either own it, have a long-term lease agreement in place, or he has to own it. Or you have to sell it to him. So maybe we can come up with something, some type of contingency to say, hey, look, let's do a long-term lease or what have you. But you also have to understand that once this property is no longer the city of Port Allen, you cannot get it back. And again, we keep having these conversations about infrastructure. You have property that's by the city of Port Allen that's owned. He say, she say, this cannot be a sewage treatment plant. Where is it on paper? Where is it on paper? Can we see it on paper? And then let's figure out, okay, if this can't be the waste sewage plant, what's the next plan of action? But again, you guys have a fiduciary responsibility for the citizens of Port Allen to make sure that you guys are doing things that's in favor of the citizens. We prefer not to have council that's going to say motion, 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 I agree, without doing research and asking the proper questions. We want forward progress. We are going to get forward progress. And we're not going to keep standing here just letting things slide up under the table. We understand again, he has a deadline that he has to meet, or he loses the $6 million that was awarded to him. And he does not get to get the $1.2 million developer's fee that's associated with this project. We get it, we understand. But again, I ask you guys to understand that what you do for one developer, you must also do for other developers, or you're opening yourself up and exposing yourself to other things. I yield my time.
Ms. Edwards.
Okay, first of all, I'm not against development. For over 20 years, I worked with Victor Corsi, and I helped him develop the water park. I helped him develop Corsi Boulevard. I helped him develop Lake Sugar Landers. Things that last, things that are of value to the community, okay? What is disturbing, I'm for Smart Road. Port Allen is a gem. Why it's not utilized, I don't know. We could do downtown development. Our downtown is just, sorry, it really is. One of our biggest assets could be tourism, and it's nothing, okay? We have river views that Baton Rouge doesn't have. We could have a high-end, top-dollar Riverview restaurant with vendors. Yeah, there it sits, okay? We have not utilized our assets at all. We're sitting on a piece of gold and we treat it like garbage, okay? That's what's upsetting to me, because what worries me most is none of our young, brightest people are staying. They're leaving. They ought to stay. There is a future here. But you know what? The ones I talk to, they don't believe it. Now, I have no stake in the game because my son will never live here. And that's the honest truth. None of his friends that went to Port Allen High School will ever live here. And that breaks my heart. Some of the best and the brightest. You're an exception. Okay? Nonetheless. And number two, what bothers me the most is I knew Pat Roy. God only knows what he dumped on that And the thought of somebody building and putting human beings on that land terrifies me. Before I did any negotiations with anybody, I would have a soil test done. Okay? Simple as that, because you're setting yourself up 20 years from now, City of Port Allen, in a massive lawsuit because everybody in those homes has died of cancer or has cancer. We already have a cancer problem here. You know, that needs to be looked into. But the EPA has programs where they have environmental wastewater treatment plants that don't look bad, that are safe. And if you didn't know it was a wastewater treatment plant, you'd never guess it. And there's funds available to do that. My other gripe is, if I live back there, Court Street is already congested. There's that subdivision there. You're going to have, if they do what they say they're going to do, you're going to have 88 additional cars going down Court Street, going back to those streets. Sorry, it's too much. That's at the minimum. If nobody has any visitors, they don't have the kids. 88 cars? That's a lot. And if I lived back there, I would not appreciate that one bit. I don't mind growth. There's plenty of land over on the other side by Commercial Drive. This place, that's just too congested right there. The developer, when he had his first meeting, him and I got in a little disagreement. I'm sure y'all remember it. Remember? And he said something entirely different than what he's trying to sell to y'all right now, and that bothers me, okay? Baton Rouge, one of their biggest problems right now, and I can bring in two people that will talk to y'all. Baton Rouge has an eviction court. Why do they have an eviction court? Because they move into these low-income houses, and I can bring them to you. It's not just hearsay. I've done everything I can do to try to help them out, finally get out of some of these slum apartments in Baton Rouge that were supposed to be the golden nuggets. What happens is they can't get out of them. The roof leaks, sewer backs up, whatever. They still got to pay their rent. So y'all was saying, okay, go ahead and move out. No, because everywhere in Baton Rouge has a credit check. They call from who you're renting from. Good luck with moving, because they're never going to give you a good credit rating to get out of there. So they stay, and they stay, and they stay, and they live in conditions that nobody should be living in. So finally it got so bad the city of Baton Rouge had to create an eviction court to help all these people out. The average their probably stay 10 to 15 years, and then what they're going to do is they'll sell all their interest off to somebody else, and they'll just use it as a tax write-off, and then in 20 years you're going to have a slum, and you will have an eviction court. That's just the way that works. They're just in it for the money, and that is it. They could care less. Now, something that we might be able to investigate, which I did not do, but I went to something where they had a speaker from the NAACP, and he said in his speech, were we aware that Section 8 payments could also be used as home ownership? That might be something that we want to explore. I don't know, but I just don't think this is a good idea. We have a nice town, and there's other, we could explore low-income housing that people can buy. I mean, seriously, I don't know. It just, if you have a bad feeling about it, I don't know anybody that I've talked to that has a good feeling about this. We're looking at y'all as leaders for our protection, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Robertson, do you have something on this topic? Real quick? Yeah, you said, okay.
that is,
Yeah, we've done 15, way past 15 minutes
Yep.
on this topic.
just relative to the process, that, the way that if the property is subdivided and zoned, then all we do is get an option from the city to purchase the property. And then we go back through the process of, we get a phase one environmental done, we get soil samples done, we apply for the building permits, we go through all the inspections with the state fire marshal, we go through everything with the state, DEQ, and then when all of that stuff, if all of that stuff passes, then we come back and simultaneously on the same day, we buy the land from the city and we pay for the building permits to proceed. Nothing happens until all that is done. So at this point, it's simply an option to sell the land to us. And the only other thing that I would say to that is that, you know, we've seen these pictures before. These are $300,000 hurricane-proof houses. And the 50% three-bedroom houses, AMI houses, are $892. So that means a family can live in this house for $892. And 50% of the population in this town makes less than $50,000 and 50% rent homes. So that's half of the constituents that could live for $892 in that house versus where they're currently living.
Okay, so, Evan, we put on here, to introduce the ordinance to re-subdivide, so can we just go with that? And
Yeah,
then do
and
some
just for
research
clarity,
on-
re-subdivide and rezone, that's what it should have been, so you're actually going to re-subdivide and rezone. R3 from the current, commercial C1. C2. So again, yeah, I mean, would be a motion and a second, and again, for this item to pass, so it'd be a motion to approve an ordinance, the introduction of an ordinance to re-subdivide and rezone.
Yeah,
Since this is the first major planning and zoning issue before the council, I just want to say, for the record, that every planning and zoning matter comes to the council, whether the planning and zoning votes it yea or nay. That's state law. The difference is 3 votes. If the planning and zoning commission approves it, 3 votes authorizes it at this level. And if they do not, 4 votes authorizes it at this level. But we are required by law to bring it to you. So that's nothing, there's no rushing going on, there's no expedition or anything like that. This is the process. It failed at the planning and zoning, we notified you of that, and we're telling you what has to happen to go forward. Now, this is not an introduction of an ordinance, this is the actual re-subdivide. The rezoning was not discussed because the re-subdivision failed. You can't rezone it until you subdivide it, okay? So there's still multiple steps that have to take place. But like Mr. Strange said, no development of this magnitude is gonna be financed without multiple studies and a lot of work to do to verify that the property is suitable. And I just wanna say one other thing. There's been a lot of mentioning of a sewer plant at this property. But at the same time, we're concerned about the condition of the property. So you're concerned about residents, but you're not concerned about my employees that's got to work at this facility. It's the same property. If the property is unsuitable for human inhabitation, it's not suitable for any human inhabitation. Time out. All I'm saying is this. Told y'all last week. I don't have a vote. My opinion as to the suitability is my own, and I'll discuss it privately with anyone who wants to. But at this point, all I'm saying is that we were required to bring it to the council. Okay, and what you do with it It's your purview. And that's all I'm saying about it. If anyone has any other questions about the process, I will address those questions. And that's all. All right. Yes.
Okay. If we separate this property, C and D, right?
It's identified as lot C and D currently. What you're doing is taking a 9.108 acre tract and breaking it up into a 7.92 or give or take, and then 1.00 whatever's left over.
Okay.
Yes.
So when he do all his studies and he realized that nothing can be done with this property,
Okay.
we still own this property, because he's not gonna buy it. It's nothing we could do with this property, but we could just keep it, and if we wanna put whatever on it, it's still ours.
Until you
We cannot,
execute.
and
Yes.
for clarification,
Yes.
we cannot put a sewer plant on it anyway.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. No, listen,
Okay, wait.
this is what I'll say to that. The former administration did not want to put a sewer plant that close to any residential properties.
Anymore.
That's why it wasn't considered. That was the gist of that discussion. That was it. That was it. So, well, that was still the former administration's decision. That's what happened. So, and here's the thing. We were told that we need roughly 6 acres for a sewer plant. We were trying to get at least 10 to provide adequate buffer. And so that was also part of the consideration. It was the size, it was the location. He didn't want to put it near residential. That's residential all the way around it, on every side. When I called the appraiser to get an appraisal done, which we are required to do by law, the appraiser said she was gonna appraise it as residential because that's the most appropriate use. And that's all I'm saying. I don't have an opinion. I'm just saying the facts as I know them and as they have been explained to me throughout the process. So that is why that property was not considered for a sewer plant.
So re-subdividing the property tonight, is the city still gonna own it?
Yes, you're just making 2 lots out of 1. That's it. That's all. But this is a necessary step in the process, so. All right.
Can I get a motion to re-subdivide the property at 605 North 15th Street? No motion? Yeah, I need a motion to re-subdivide the property at 605 North 15th Street. I need a second. Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman Joseph.
Again, council, we need 2/3 votes.
Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Bubba? Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Number 8, consider approving the change order cost adjustment of $13,907, decrease the M-Track LLC for 2024 road rehabilitation program, phase 13.
I understood what the man said.
I'm on 8, consider approving the change order cost adjustment of $13,907, decrease the M-Track LLC for 2024 road rehabilitation program, phase 13.
I'll motion.
And it was motion by Councilwoman King, second by Councilman Hubble. Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Joseph? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Bubba?
Yes.
Okay, number 9, consider approving pay application number 3 of $48,654 to M-Track LLC for road rehabilitation program 13, project 11764. Okay. So can I get a motion to consider approving the pay application number 3 of $48,654 to M-Track for road rehabilitation program 13? Okay, it was motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes.
10, consider approving the change order for pay application number 3 and substantial completion for 2024 road rehabilitation program phase 13 Michigan Avenue.
Council, just for point of clarification on this agenda item, you're only actually voting on approving the substantial completion for the 2024 road rehabilitation program, not the change order for the application notes prior. This is simply accept the project as substantially complete.
Can I get a motion? Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, it was motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Payne. Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Joseph? Yes. Ms. Gordon? Yes. Mr. Hubble? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, number 11, consider approving the final inspection of railroad lift station. And this is where the pump was. The pump has been moved. I went to the walkthrough. Everything's working there. I think the pump was being used before they turn it back into the sewer plant is using it, I think, for like a week. And then we should be through paying for the pump rentals. Can I get a motion on that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, it was motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph? Yes. Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
12, consider adopting a resolution to support preparation and submittal of an application for funding through the Louisiana Governmental Assistance Program for water and drainage not to exceed $50,000. Okay, second.
Second.
Okay. Councilman Hubble, motion. Councilwoman King, second. Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Consider adopting a resolution to support preparation and submittal of an application for funding through the Division of Administration Community Water Enrichment Fund. Can I get a motion?
Yes.
Okay, motion by Councilwoman Joseph, second.
And I'll second.
Okay, second by Councilman Hubble. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And 14, consider approving a maximum funding of $2,000 for any cooperative endeavor agreement for community organizations for events.
Make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
okay, it was motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilwoman King. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Ms. King?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passes.
15, consider approving the rescheduling of President's Day holiday to Monday, March 3rd, 2025. And this is, I asked at committee meeting if we would move President's Day to the Monday before Mardi Gras, since we're already off from Mardi Gras. Unless you want to do both.
I motion.
What? Okay. Okay, it was motion by Councilman Payne, second by Councilman Hubble. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph?
Yeah.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so, last week we heard from Gallagher about, insurance. So they are here. I don't know if you had any questions for them, but we're asking for you to consider approving the annual contract renewal for Gallagher Insurance. We do have Ms. Lauren, Mr. Andrew here, so I don't know if you have any questions for him. The insurance was presented last week. I think it's going up like $18 for the employees. We still keep the Nonstop card. The Nonstop has been a big asset to everyone. I haven't heard any complaints about it. You can use for co-pays, pharmacy for prescriptions. So I ask that you consider approving that tonight. Okay, motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Joseph? Yes. Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Okay, 17, consider approving the hiring of Harissa Antoine as a full-time utility clerk at the rate of $109A. Harissa is currently our part-time worker. We're just asking for her to be promoted to full-time. Again, this was put in the previous the budget that we're currently in now. So, we do have the funding for it. We're just asking her to, be considered full-time.
Is that the job that we had to advertise for?
We did advertise for the position. We had a few applicants, a lot were from out of state, actually, I guess, cause the Advocate is where we had to advertise it. We really didn't have many local, I think just one other, and she's been in the position, she's actually learned the utility billing, so that's one thing I can kinda pass over, she's been doing the bills, so she's just about ready to do them on her own.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Hubble. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Hubble? King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes, ma'am.
20, public hearing to obtain views concerning an ordinance to increase the salary of city council members by $2,600 annually. Mr. Summers signed up for this.
Before I begin, how much is the proposal a month?
How much is what?
How much will y'all be making a month if this passes?
The council will get this.
Yes, I'm the
So
director.
it's, 200, I think, monthly, so it's $100 a paycheck.
Okay, well,
So it'd be nine.
So it's 14,000.
14,000 a year. Okay, so that's pretty much in par with what the parish government councilmen make. They make about $1,400 a year. So I'm not as opposed as I was once I learned that number. Thank you.
He's not opposed to it. Mr. Robertson? Hey, can I get a motion on this? Oh, I'm sorry. I closed the public hearing. Anyone from the public wish to comment? Close the public hearing. Okay. Consider adopting an ordinance to increase the salary of city council members by $2,600 annually. Ms. Rose?
Ordinance number 2 of 2025, an ordinance of the city of Port Allen revising section 2-1 of the article 2 of chapter 2 of Port Allen Code of Ordinances for the purpose of setting new salaries of elected and appointed officials and related matters. The annual salary for each council member of the city of Port Allen, Louisiana shall be $14,600 per year, which amount will be divided amongst 26 pay periods. The council member serving as mayor pro tem shall receive an additional payment of $900.16 per year divided amongst 26 pay periods.
Can I get a motion?
Gardner?
Second?
Second.
Okay. Motion by Councilwoman Gordon, second by Councilman Payne. Can I get a roll call?
Mrs. Gordon, Mrs. Joseph?
Yes.
Mrs. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hubble? Ms. King?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Motion passes.
22.
No, this is, across the board.
It's unanimous. 22, presentation of the monthly financial report. Ms. Davis?
Good afternoon, council. How are you all?
How are you?
Okay, I sent everybody everybody got their copy?
No,
Did you have a chance to look at it? You didn't get it?
No.
Send it to your personal email address. Last Monday.
I didn't get it.
My apologies. I'll get you all a copy. But looking at it, everything is running roughly around 50, no more than 56%, except the sewer plant. So the budget is in line for us to stay in line. Give you a copy, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. Councilwoman King, did you get yours?
I didn't.
Okay, so Councilman Hubbard, did you get yours? Okay, so it's just y'all three. I'll get you all a copy, and if you have any questions, you can email me, text me. I'm sorry?
Why we couldn't do 18 and 19?
She throws off to get some more information.
Unless,
That's what she just asked.
Thank you. Condemnation proceedings,
None at this time, Mayor.
alcoholic and beverage permits, Mr. Joseph.
These are two renewals. Tigers Tobacco Discount, 3235 Highway 1, South Suite A, Class A liquor, Circle K stores. This is Circle K on the Service Road, South Alexander, I believe. But this is the mailing address in I'm guessing somewhere in California perhaps, but Class B liquor.
A motion to approve these two together. Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Hubble, second by Councilwoman Gordon. And roll call, please.
Joseph?
Yes.
Gordon?
Yes.
Ms. King?
yes,
Mr. Hubble? Ms. King?
yes.
Yes.
And, Mr. Hasbro?
Oh, y'all say the best for last, huh? I know y'all been waiting on me. Good evening, folks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next agenda item is announcement and correspondence. We're gonna let Mr. Hasbro speak.
How you doing, young lady? How y'all doing?
All right, how are you?
Mr. Hubble, you know why I'm here. District 3 is a disgrace. I've called you for years. You scared of me or something? You shouldn't have to be. I have called you and text you, and don't make me pull it out and show you in here. But for the last 4-8 years, I want it was, your compadre, he gone now. You gonna change down here, bro. If I have to do it myself. But what you doing to us right over here, across the street, you know what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous. I come in at night, I gotta step across possums and rabbits to go in my house, and snakes. I told you that years ago. You promised me to get all that cleaned up years ago on the national TV. You promised that shit. You and Richard Lee, excuse my language, y'all. It slipped. But I'm sick of it, bro. If you can't do nothing about it, why don't you give somebody else your job and let me run for it? Because what you're doing to this, you take care of yonder, but you don't care about us over here. And I'm sick of it. I will be here every meeting until you get it cleaned up. Before the election, they got trash piles on the side of the street. The old people over here don't do what they can do to get it cleaned up. It's your job to get it picked up, and you won't do it because you're scared of me. For what? I ain't gonna do you nothing.
Let me stop you, Mr. Hasbro. So, you came to talk to me yesterday. So, Ms. Deloach.
You can look and you can laugh. I'm serious, dude.
Mr. Hasbro. So you came to talk to me yesterday, and I did pass the information along to Ms. Deloach, and she was able to get in touch with Republic. Someone did go out there but they have a big, they've started apparently taking pictures. This is something new. So they send something back saying that they have a big tree stump, and they have a picture of it. You're welcome to come see tomorrow. But whoever cut that down, it needs to be, I think, chopped up for them to be able to pick it up. They can't pick the big tree stump or whatever it is. They can't pick that up. I think they did pick up some of the trash around there, but the tree stump, I did send them to, you told me, River Road. So I send them in that direction, and that's what they sent a picture back of. I'm not sure if that's the area, so you are welcome to come to the office tomorrow and look at the picture to see if that's what you were.
What about the pile that's been at my house before election time on side my house? What about the pile that Pole Bub put down here himself and it stayed there until I raised hell and y'all come pick it up? You don't have to come, excuse me, y'all don't have to, I ain't doing nothing. I'm gonna speak my mind though. Bro, you pathetic. You are pathetic for a council.
We're not gonna take jabs at people, but we will get the issue addressed.
Mr. Haskins, did dumping trash bag?
No. They got abandoned vehicles, the trailer next door to my house, still putting up with rats and snakes coming for money. You and your compadre was supposed to have it moved 8 years ago. You want me to have Channel 2 back over here on you? Huh? Ricky what? Mr. Ricky to you. Nah, I pay your salary.
Ricky, come on.
Let's go back.
Boy, let me go. Come on. I'm gonna tell you that you can talk that stupid shit to somebody else.
Right here on the chapel aisle. I did address the issue that he brought to me. Carolyn sent it in. They send pictures back. Apparently it's something new they take pictures of. Different properties now. I'm not sure if they take pictures of property that they can't service or the pictures of every address that we send them to. Not sure, not clear on that, but she had a picture and it was a big tree stump. So I will send them, by his house to make a complaint, but I mean he's welcome to come see the picture. If we call them normally, they will do a pickup. If the city calls them for something other than a homeowner, I think they will pick it up.
Just for information purposes, because you've heard from him.
My name's Ricky.
Years ago.
Not him.
Ricky,
There you go.
do you remember on a November day when that building on the side of you complained about, which is gone? When I came out there, who was out there with me pulling vines out, and you came out of your house? No, you weren't. You came out of your house and you said, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "Well, you called me and complained about cleaning this
That's
up."
8 years ago, Bubba.
So I went out there and pulled it and cleaned it. And I had my truck ready there. And your words were, "Don't do that. You don't have to do that. I have a friend," it was on a Monday. "I have a friend coming in on Tuesday and we're going to do that." I said, "Fine, Rick, are you good with that?" And you said yes. Then I asked you about the trailer. You got to
Come on, one can talk.
You asked me about the trailer on the other side of your house. I said, "Okay, Ricky, let's work on that." Then you told me I went over there, you said, "No, don't worry about it." That's what you told me.
Ricky, lie, because you can lie to somebody else. Bubba, you full of shit. And you know. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't have any announcements. We are doing our nominees for Black History. I think we have pretty good responses from that. We've started. We have 3 more that's coming up. To finish February up. Each week we have three new people. All right, that's it. Can I get a motion?
I don't have anything on the exhibit, but I do know that there is an exhibit at the museum.
The 18 or the 28?
Sourcing.
Mr.
One thing I got was something by word of mouth, nobody.
Railroad gonna do some kind of lecture on it. I think it's on the 18th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I do know what's going on, but nobody,
I think I saw it on
I need a motion
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilwoman Gordon. Second by Councilwoman King.